Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista here on YouTube, and today is going to be another diamond paint with me while I continue working on Treasure Studios art Cherry Blossom by Lizzie Falcon. And it will be a true crime story time. You know, I had somebody comment over the weekend because I had an extra true crime video on that I put up on Sunday. They're like, where are the men that are committing crimes? You know? Yeah, right. I've read so many stories by women. I found a story today that's a man. Oh, yes, indeedy. Okay. But first, I have a new member to the channel, Patricia Clayton. So Patricia, thank you so very much for joining the channel. I appreciate so much my patrons, people who have joined the channel, people who have bought me a coffee. It really, really does go to help support the channel and me, and to buy wonderful things to show you guys and all that good stuff. Okay, I have not diamond painted since Friday because the weekends, Bill hasn't really been fishing. I mean, he hasn't been fishing in like 3 months, like all summer. And so he is here with me on the weekend. Yeah. So we're spending time together, and so I'm not diamond painting. But that's okay. Love spending time with my husband. All right. So yeah, the weekend was good. Saturday, as you saw my vlog, I was out of the house for about 4 hours. Yeah, I was out of the house for quite a while because we had recessed lighting put in our kitchen, and I just dislike being here when stuff like that is going on. So I just traipsed all over our town, Starbucks, did the video, went to Goodwill, went to Joann's, which I'll be showing. I bought some fabric for cross-stitch finishing, and finished my book. I finished Mrs. Rochester's Ghost. It was good. I really liked it. Now I'm on the hunt for like another book, and I may have found one. It's a new book by Megan Abbott, who I have read every one of her books, and it's called The Turnout. So we'll see. I'm a little ways into the sample, and I like it. It's good. Okay. And then Sunday, we actually went to dinner on Saturday at Texas Roadhouse, and we hadn't been there in a long while. I got their steak salad, and that was pretty good. I've been kind of off track though the last couple days. I haven't lost any weight this week yet. I've been eating like higher carb stuff. Like I had some mac and cheese last night. I need to get back on it for sure. I don't want to derail my efforts here. And I also have not felt like as good as I was. I did walk for a half hour this morning. To get in 10,000 steps, I have to walk for an hour and a half a day. That's a lot. The pace that I walk and everything, it is about an hour and a half a day. And I'm like, Jesus, like, yeah. I'm probably, because I'm off work today. This is Monday, August 9th. Yes. I am probably going to walk another half hour today because I just watch YouTube. So it's kind of a way for me to say, okay, I can watch a video because I'm walking. Definitely. Because it's 12 o'clock here, and I won't eat anything. That's enough. That's one thing that really I've gone kind of off the rails with. You know, I was intermittent fasting from 2 to 8. I feel like I need to be eating more at dinner because then I won't be eating at night. I've been eating snacks again at night, and I don't want to do that. Like once 8 o'clock comes, you're done. And I just haven't been doing that. And, I was talking to Bill about it this morning. I think what happens is, when you do something like what I was doing, any kind of eating plan or something different, it gets tedious. You get tired of it. And there's just so much yummy food out there. But when I really stop and think, the food that I think is so yummy really isn't all that. Like, if I'm really gonna have something, it better be like really, really good, right? If I'm gonna have something off plan. Like it was Panera mac and cheese yesterday. I made meatloaf yesterday for dinner. And we're having that again tonight because we have some left over. The mac and cheese is all right. It wasn't worth the carbs and the calories, in my opinion. I would have much rather had my Parmesan cheese, which I'm going to have tonight with it, and I'm going to have zucchini. So, yeah. But we went to Costco yesterday. So yesterday was a pretty busy day. Had groceries delivered. And then Bill had to return something at Bass Pro Shop. So we went there, and then we had lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings. And then we went to Costco. And at Costco, I've been taking collagen because even though my hair came back really, really well after chemo, it still is a little thin, like around my temples. So, and with eating low carb, you have to be careful too of hair loss. So I was taking collagen pills, and I like the Vital Protein. I think it's Vital Proteins. If you take the pills, you have to take 12 pills a day. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like trying to take 12 pills a day in addition to the supplements I already take. I was like, I need to look up their powder. Now, they have flavored powder, and I don't like any of the flavored protein powder because they're sweetening it and it just tastes too chemically. So they make powder that's unflavored. So I bought a big canister yesterday at Costco, and I had some. You only got to have 2 scoops. So I had 2 bottles of Gatorade yesterday and put a scoop in each one, and you can't taste it. It's great. And I had 1 scoop today in my morning coffee. Great. So all I got to do is have 1 more scoop, whether I have another cup of coffee at lunchtime or I have it in my Gatorade. And it's just so much easier than trying to take 12 pills. Yeah. And that powder, I mean, there's like 84 servings in there. So you think it'll last me a little over a month. And I think the canister was like $27 or something. Bill was like, what? Yeah. Well, that stuff isn't cheap. It's not. And Costco has a pretty good selection of stuff like that up front where all their vitamins and stuff are. They have a lot of stuff there. Like energy stuff and, all that stuff. Yeah. So like I said, I came in and made meatloaf, and we had that. And we also had bought some ground beef because ground beef at Costco, if you buy ground beef in the grocery store, it's like $10 a pound. It's crazy pants. We bought it in bulk at Costco. It works out to $3 a pound. $3. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. And we got fabric softener because I needed that. We love Costco. Oh, and that shirt that I had bought, that green shirt that I had bought at Goodwill for $4.99. I wore it yesterday. It looks great. I was so happy with the purchase because it is the Costco brand, like activewear for women. It's the Kirkland brand. It's in perfect condition. And I really love the green. The green looks really, really good on me. I really like it. I'm so glad that I bought that. Okay. So, today's story, because I think I've jibby-jabbed enough, is called Death by Shampoo. Uh-huh. Are we ready? So, on the morning of March 15th, 1982, workmen in the town of Padborg, Denmark, were repairing the roof of a rooming house when one of them detected an unpleasant odor. Oh boy. And he says to another one of his coworkers, "Do you smell that?" And which the coworker sniffed the air and replied that they did indeed detect something was off or foul smelling. And so one of them suggests maybe a squirrel died in the roof. something like that. And the others agreed that was probably the case, and they didn't have time to bother with it anyway, so they had work to do, so they just left it. But as the day progressed and the early spring air began to thaw, the smell got even stronger. So it wasn't overwhelming, but it was certainly unpleasant. And if you've ever smelled something very unpleasant, if you continue to smell it, you're like, what the F? I have to figure this out, right? So eventually the men decided to find the source of it. Entering the attic space through a hatch, the men were drawn immediately to one corner of the building. There, a sweep of their flashlights revealed a nondescript pile concealed within a garbage bag and sealed with a length of twine, and the smell right there was much stronger. And it gave off an earthy quality that aggravated their nasal passages. So we know what was probably going to be in that bag, right? So producing a penknife, one of the roofers leaned in and sliced through the plastic, and another one reached in and widened the gap. And the third guy, so it was three of them, the third guy shone his flashlight in the bag and immediately wished he hadn't, because the bag turned out to contain a badly decomposed corpse. Dun, 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 right? So with police alerted and the house cordoned off, the body was removed to a local morgue. That same evening, an autopsy was performed, and the corpse was female, between 20 and 35 years old, slightly built and with long blonde hair. Based on the degree of decomposition, it was estimated that she had been in the attic for at least 6 months and probably longer. Jesus. Okay. One thing was certain, though, the woman had been murdered. Fractures to the neck vertebrae suggested ligature strangulation. That has to be just a horrific way to die. I can't imagine being strangled to death. The police, however, had no idea who their victim was or how she ended up in the roof space. The only clues they had were a gold bracelet and a silver ring that the corpse was wearing. The ring had a distinctive horsehead design and might just narrow the field. So, armed with these scant clues, detectives began going through missing persons reports, hoping for a match, but they came up empty. Whoever the woman was, she had not been reported missing in Denmark, and since Padborg is just a half-hour's drive from the German border, the detectives also contacted their counterparts in Germany. Perhaps they might have a missing person matching the description, but those inquiries also delivered no result, and for now, the unfortunate woman remained nameless. So, with this avenue of investigation seemingly at a dead end, the Danish police next turned their attention to the site where the body had been found. It was not much of a stretch to conclude that the murder had occurred on the premises. By extension, that suggested that the killer had lived there and perhaps still did. All that the police had to do was to question the residents and hope that one of them might give himself away. Come on now. Unfortunately, this was easier said than done. The house operated as a hostel. You ever seen that movie? Hostel? It's 3 parts. There's a 1, 2, and a 3, and they're all fantastic. I love those movies. They're gory and bloody, though, if you do not like that kind of stuff. So, yeah, the house operated as a hostel, which is like a hotel of sorts, with residents coming and going on a regular basis. So countless rumors had been through the place over the past year. Tracking them all down would be a mammoth task, and it was nonetheless a task that the police would have to undertake. So they began by talking to the current lodgers. And it was here that they caught a break. It turned out that one of the current tenants had been living at the property for much longer than the normal time. Luigi Longhi, I guess that's how you say it. And he was a 28-year-old Italian national who worked on and off as a truck driver. So Luigi, when I think of that, I think of like Mario Kart or Super Mario Brothers. Yeah. Luigi's room was just on the other side of the wall from where the body had been found, and he had direct access to the attic space via a trap door. So that in and of itself made him a suspect. Also, investigators wanted to know, how was it possible that he could have lived in such close proximity to a rotting corpse and not noticed anything? Because I'm guessing it had to reek in his apartment or his room. Yeah. So, questioned by police, Luigi initially expressed annoyance that he was considered a suspect. However, his resolve quickly folded under interrogation. Within just an hour, he had broken down and confessed. A lot of people can't handle it. Bill and I watched a 2020 over the weekend. Oh my good night. This guy wound up killing his wife in a fire, his son by having a car fall on him, and then it was just crazy pants. It was such a crazy story. But he broke down in interrogation, finally, eventually. The interrogation was like 9 hours long. Can you imagine? So the victim was a hitchhiker he had picked up near the Danish-German border, he said. He believed that her name was Heike, and dental records would later confirm that she was 19-year-old Heike Freiheit. I murder these names. I'm so sorry. And he says, I didn't mean to kill her. I only wanted to wash her hair. What? Okay. The stunned detectives, because when someone utters that, they're probably like, what the hell? The stunned detectives had just about had time to absorb that piece of information when Luigi launched into the most bizarre confession any of them had ever heard. Get ready. He said he had met Heike at a rest stop on May 30th, 1981, 9 months before her body was discovered. Heike had been heading for Copenhagen and had been hoping for a ride. Luigi, unfortunately, wasn't going that far. He was on the final leg of his journey back to Padborg. He did, however, make her an offer, a train ticket to Copenhagen in exchange for one small favor. She had to come back with him to his apartment and allow him to wash her hair. No. You would be like, no. No. It sounds harmless, but obviously he killed her. So it's almost like, oh my God, have you guys seen that movie called Perfume? I think it was based on a true story. This guy was like wanting to make perfume, and he lived like, it was in another country. And he wound up putting like whatever you make perfume with, like it was some kind of wax or a mold. He wanted to capture the essence of a woman in a perfume. And he would hire these women to put the wax on them and then get it off their body, and then it captured their smell, right? And by accident, though, I want to say by accident, he killed a woman. And he was just intoxicated with the smell of the woman after she died. Like it was a different kind of aroma. And the perfume began selling like crazy. I may have this wrong. I know I'm on the right track as far as he started killing women. The movie was like a car accident. You could not look away. And I was like, what did I just watch when it was over? Yeah. Anyway. So this undoubtedly must have seemed like an odd request to Heike. Yeah. Probably she considered it a thinly veiled ruse to get her into bed. But she was a liberated young woman, and Luigi was attractive enough, and so she agreed because she probably was like, I'll sleep with him. No, who cares? So Heike entered the rooming house with Luigi that day, and she would never emerge. It is necessary at this point in the story, however, to take a detour in time back to Luigi's upbringing in Switzerland. For it was here that Luigi developed the strange obsession that would eventually lead him down the path to murder. The actual genesis of this hair-washing fixation is unclear, and that's the biggest question. Why? All we know is that from a young age, Luigi would steal his mother's wigs and bottles of shampoo. Was it the smell? Was it the texture of hair? What was it? While other boys were outside playing football or war games, he would lock himself in the bathroom and while away the hours lovingly tending to the wigs. Okay. I mean, you can't say it's bad, right? Until he started killing people, I'm guessing. But so you might think that this hobby, bizarre though it might be, which as I just said, was all harmless fun. But it would get him into trouble when he was older and he started stealing bottles of shampoo and female wigs. Later, as a teenager, he would persuade or coerce girls into allowing him to wash their hair. And at 15, he attacked a female hairdresser in her salon, forcing her at knife point to submit to hair washing. Can you imagine? Put them up. I want to wash your hair. What? And you know, it feels good when someone else washes your hair. Like when I was at the salon, oh my God, it was like the best. So I'm imagining that, I don't know, it would seem odd though if someone said, can I wash your hair? Right? Yeah. So that incident seemed to trigger a whole slew of burglaries in the area, all of them at salons where the only items taken were hair care products. Eventually arrested for these break-ins, Luigi was convicted of breaking and entering and sent to a reformatory. But even here, Luigi could not control his unnatural lust for shampooing women's hair. After attacking a female member of staff, Luigi dragged her into an empty room, tied her up, and proceeded to shampoo her hair. He was still at it hours later. Can you imagine someone washing your hair for hours? No, dude. He was eventually tracked down and apprehended. She probably had the cleanest hair in all of the world, right? So in 1977, so this was done like a long time ago, the now 24-year-old Luigi was before the court again, charged this time with 2 counts of sexual assault. In fact, Luigi had not sexually molested his victims at all, other than to tie them up and force them to submit to hair washing. The only difference to his standard MO was that he would strip the women naked before washing their hair. Dude, what? So that might have landed him with a short jail term, but the Swiss authorities had finally had enough because he's done this quite a bit. They revoked Luigi's residency permit and deported him back to his native Italy. I'm surprised that Luigi did not get his hairstylist license, right? Or become a shampoo person. Like that would be his dream, right? Am I wrong? Why didn't he pursue that avenue of legally washing hair? So 2 years later, in 1979, Luigi showed up in Denmark looking for a fresh start. Over the next couple of years, he would keep himself mostly on the right side of the law. That is not to say that his shampoo obsession had abated, only that Luigi had refrained from forcing himself on unwilling participants. Instead, he offered a cash incentive to any woman prepared to let him wash her hair, and at least 10 women are known to have taken his money. Okay. At least he didn't kill them, though. Yet. Had he continued on this path, we might never have heard of Luigi, and Heike might still be alive. So, what was it that attracted Luigi to Heike? Remember, she had long, luxuriant blonde hair. Now in his cramped apartment, she's back at his apartment. He ran his fingers lovingly through those locks, working the shampoo into a rich lather. When he was done, he rinsed and towel dried and then informed Heike he wished to do it all again. And she started to protest, right, that her hair was clean now, but it fell on deaf ears because the obsession isn't just he wants to do it once, he wants to do it for hours. So in fact, Luigi would spend several hours washing Heike's hair, drying it, repeating the process again and again. Ugh, that had to wind up being, I would guess, painful. When Heike begged him to stop, he tied her to a chair and stuffed a hand towel in her mouth to silence her. Oh God, oh my good night. When he eventually ran out of shampoo, can you imagine running out of shampoo, using an entire bottle in like one session? When he eventually ran out of shampoo, he resorted to using whatever he had on hand. First honey, which, boy, that would probably pull your hair out because honey is very sticky and viscous, like thick. Then he used salad dressing and eventually cream cheese. Well, now you need shampoo because her hair is probably disgusting at this point. Finally, the exhausted and terrified woman, Heike, convinced him to let her use the bathroom, and it was then that she made her move, which led to her death. She screamed and banged on the wall, hoping to attract attention. That only got her hogtied and thrown on the bed, with a rope around her neck that tightened whenever she struggled, and unfortunately, Luigi knotted the noose too tight, and Heike was slowly strangled to death. Oh, that had to have been horrific. Heike, she would end up stuffed in a garbage bag and thrown into the attic, her decomposing body just feet away from where Luigi slept at night. So Luigi was charged with murder and appeared for trial in March 1983. There, prosecutors offered the theory that Luigi's bizarre story was a lie, that this was a common garden variety case of sexual assault and murder. Why in the hell would you lie about something like that? Why would you, if you had to lie about it, why would you say that was your story? Why would you make that up? You can't make that shit up, right? And Luigi denied it, saying that he had never engaged in sexual intercourse in his life and had no interest in the sex act. Oh, God, okay? His only arousal came from washing a woman's hair, and given his history, there was no reason to believe he was being untruthful. You wouldn't lie about that. That wouldn't be the story you would concoct. Of course, there was never any chance that Luigi would be convicted of murder. He was quite clearly insane, right? And that was how the court ruled. So Luigi, dubbed the shampoo killer, was confined to a mental hospital and ordered to remain there indefinitely. So there is no update on it besides that. But can you imagine? Can you imagine if he ever would have had a girlfriend? She would have not been with him very long because he would have continuously wanted to wash her hair. You know, washing your hair once, maybe twice if you have a lot of styling product in it, but washing someone's hair for hours, eventually it would hurt. I'm thinking it would be very uncomfortable. Not to mention, depending on how she was bent over, because when he washed her hair, like the back of my neck was sore from, even though there was a pad there, like when you put your head in like this sink, my neck was sore because I had to have my hair rinsed like 3 or 4 times over the course of the 3 hours I was there. And crazy. Yeah, that was a cuckoo crazy one, but it was a man. I've read so many stories about women. I like those freaky ones though. Like, that was definitely different. So had you heard of that case? Yeah. So we always end on a positive affirmation from A Year of Positive Thinking by Cindy Spiegel. And today is Monday, August 9th. And this is a very short one, but a very true one. Mirror What You Hope For is the title. And it says, embody the changes you wish to see around you. Meaning, you know, be the change you want to see in the world. That's another way to say it, because a lot of people say that. You know, instead of waiting, and don't be afraid, because you may be the cheese that stands alone initially, but you don't really know, I think, like one small act, what kind of ripple effect it truly can have over someone else doing the same thing or choosing to make a decision that they were on the fence about in a positive way. So, I hope you all have a fantastic Monday. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.